Hello, everyone. Welcome to United and Everything Football. This is episode 24. Yes, you heard me right. We are in episode 24. This is our second podcast for the year 2024, and it's starting off on a good note because United beat Wigan Athletic in the FA Cup yesterday. I mean, it's exciting. Kwame, how are you doing?
It's exciting. Did you just say it's exciting?
Isn't it exciting? How many ways have you celebrated this year?
Let's just say it's
you've celebrated more losses than wins this season. I would say you've experienced more losses than wins this season, Kwame.
See, I'm not even counting the first part of the season. I want to treat this year 2024 as a fresh start. So it's a good start. One win. Let's just hopefully continue.
All right, so we are joined by a special guest, a staunch United fan, a staunch football lover. He says he's an retired sports journalist. Godfred Akotovapo, our senior man. He's joining us on this podcast. Godfred, how are you doing?
Well, hello, Kwamis.
Hello, Godfred.
And I must say, look, I am currently a very frustrated Manchester United fan. This is as frustrated as I have been since Louis van Gaal was our coach. Even only they didn't frustrate me like this. Louis van Gaal was the one who was stressing me. And
another Dutchman is back.
And so Papa Sako took the job and decided to ruin all the feeling I had. But I want to share in Kwame's hope for the new year when it comes to United.
Thank you very much, Godfred. It's a privilege to have you on our show this podcast. We are so happy to have you join us on this podcast.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you very much. So we are going for a quick break. Remember, we hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell every single time. So we are going for a quick break. When we come back, we get into the issues on United and Everything Football. All right, thank you very much for staying with us. This is United and Everything Football. United were up against Wigan Athletic in the FA Cup, and United won that game by 2-0. I don't know what you saw. Let me give you my initial thoughts. From what I've seen, it won't change. Kwame, what do you make of the win against Wigan Athletic?
You're such a spoil spot. I mean, come on, we just started 2024, fresh start.
I wish I could share in your hopes, but I simply can't.
I'm trying my best to sound as positive as I can.
But let's get into the game. What did you make of the game against Wigan yesterday?
All right, so fifth round of the FA Cup, our first tie away in any cup competition in ages. In recent times, we've always been drawn at Old Trafford when it comes to either League Cup or FA Cup ties. So it was a bit different, making an away trip all the way to Wigan Athletic, a League One side. That was the good thing. It wasn't the toughest of draws, to be honest. It was a good draw to start with. We saw our rivals kick off their FA Cup campaigns in tough clashes. Liverpool versus Arsenal. That was a tough game to watch.
Yes,
but then we had a relatively easy tie.
Don't we deserve that?
City often get those easy away draws.
True.
Season in, season out. Yeah. So I don't mind if we are drawn against lower league opposition all the way through to the semi-final or final. I'll take it because United is doing a madness this season. All right. So on the game, we dominated the game from start to finish. We created loads of opportunities. That's the thing. It was a bit different from most of the games we've played in recent times where we struggled to actually create opportunities. And we were profligate in front of goal. We wasted... We have to talk about Rasmus Højlund very soon. I mean, there are games we've made excuses for him saying, he doesn't get the opportunities, we don't create for him. He had 3 glaring opportunities in the first half. I was thinking this was the kind of game he should, use to rack up some goals and then gain some confidence. But then I think this game actually did more harm to him than good with the kind of guilt-edged opportunities that he missed in the tie. In the end, it was a comfortable win after Bruno Fernandes won us a clever penalty. I'd repeat, a clever penalty. It was a clear foul on him. He bought it all right, but then you cannot tell me that
he made the most out of it.
We've seen the likes of Jota do some things. Soboslai or Sobolo, or whatever his name is, do some things. Other players are getting away with weird decisions. Bruno gets a penalty, a clear penalty, and then the whole world is making noise about it. He stuck the ball away, and then but then I'd like to talk about Kobe Mainoo and Garnacho, two players from our last FA Youth Cup success. Two gems, actually. They are a breath of fresh air. We spent a lot of money on the likes of Anthony, and then big money on the loaning Amrabat in. And then it's the academy boys who are stealing the show here.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't be spending as much money as we do on
Probably.
occasion, and then trust the youth a bit more.
Probably. All right, Godfrey, let me pick your thoughts on the game. 2-0 against Wigan Athletic.
Well, I largely agreed with the points Kwame made, except one, I wanted to see a new goalkeeper in the post. I've been very frustrated with Andre Onana. I don't understand why against Wigan we were hoping for a kind of draw that gives us a team like Wigan.
Yes.
Is Turkish techie into the goalpost. But there was Onana. But I must admit, he made a very crucial early save to keep us in the game. If he had not made that save, that game would have gone some way. I tell you,
pressure.
We would not have recovered from going
Fair
down.
play.
So that was one talking point for me. Again, I agree. Kobe Mainoo, oh my God, what a talent. And I criticize Eric Ten Hag for a lot of things, but I also think that if I want a young player to be coached by somebody, based on his track record, it would be Eric Ten Hag.
Yeah. And
for the position that Kobe Mainoo plays, I watched what he did with Van der Beek, Frankie de Jong, Berghuis, Kennedy Taylor, all those boys.
Ryan
Gravenberch in their formative stages, and I say there is no better teacher for somebody like Kobe Mainoo in that position. So, and it's starting to show.
Yeah,
the kid is on a whole different level. I mean, we shouldn't get overly excited, but what? Kobe Mainoo.
Getting overly excited.
Rough. And then of course Alejandro Garnacho. Another positive point why we've wasted all this time on Anthony. And again, sometimes it's what confuses me about Ten Hag. Do the simple thing. Sometimes you don't have to overthink it. Right-footed winger, right side. Rashford doing his thing on the left side, although very poorly. Now we'll talk about Rashford in a bit.
Yes.
Give the team balance. A winger who does traditional winger things. So takes a player on the outside. Once in a while, that's a cutback. That's a cross. Gives a fullback something to worry about. As compared to this Anthony experiment where you actually have to develop an entire system
around
to accommodate what Anthony can do. What kind of winger is this? Bonnie Ashache. Anthony's type of wing play, we have never seen some before. Where you have to design. Look, Garnacho's wing play is what we've always known wingers to do. Take on the ball, run at speed, leg over. Sometimes it will work, sometimes it will not work. Yes. And actually, Kwame, his left foot might be better than Anthony's. So
that's very true. That is very, very true. It is very true. You saw the shot he played that hits the crossbar. It was with his left foot.
Yes, and he's done quite a bit of things with his left foot that I've not seen Anthony do. That's true. Anthony, sit down quietly. I agree with Kwame on the Højlund issue. I was pretty agitated by his lack of service, but he seems to be struggling to put away the easy chances as well, and that is always a red flag. A player who's a bit low on confidence. Yesterday there were certain situations I felt if he had a bit more experience, a bit more calmness around him, even though some of them were rebounds, some of them were positional, he should have scored a hat-trick yesterday.
Yes.
It was a kind of day. And then last one, Charlie Rashford.
Mm-hmm.
Highest earner, clearly not our best player. And there's a lot to be said for Rashford. I wish I could say he could improve, but he's no longer 21 years old.
Yes.
There's something going on with that kid. Again, a player who seems to need a certain kind of structure around him. Once the dynamics change, he seems to struggle, and he's going through it at the moment. He needs to pick up. That's all I can say.
Well, that's a very good talking point on the game against Wigan Athletic. I've shared mine. I mean, I saw things that I've been seeing, I mean, throughout the season. You can't create these chances and not put them away. The Chelsea game comes to mind. I mean, a lot of these games, there's a team that's struggling to score goals. And the kind of naivety we show in front of goal, that extra decision making, I still do not understand exactly what is happening. And Kwame, we've been saying this on this podcast. It dates back to last season. I mean, it was just, we were fortunate enough that Rashford picked that kind of form last season because our strike, Vegas came in, and how many goals did he score? I'm not sure he scored up to 3 or 4 goals when he came in.
Oh.
So many games.
2 or 3.
2 or 3. Can you imagine? I mean, Anthony Martial was on and off. He comes in, and we seem to create chances, but there is this decision-making up front that I still do not understand. Sometimes you are trying to make an extra pass, trying to be over-elaborate on some of these balls, and it's very, very frustrating. You wonder what the attacking coaches do on the training grounds. We praise Benny McCarthy for what he did for Marcus Rashford. If it is not happening, we should point hands to him too. You don't only take the praise.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Don't only take the praise and then think that yes, Rashford's form is going down. He should work on it. He's taking a lot of money. Anyway, let's move on to the next topic. Okay, Godfred, yeah.
I'm saying I agree with you on that. If he took the credit last season, he actually even granted interviews.
He has to. He has to. Let's move on to our next topic.
He's hiding now.
He's hiding. Let's move on to the next. I'll start with you, Godfred. So now we have Ineos. If you watched our previous episodes, we've talked a lot about Serge Ratcliffe and what his Ineos team are trying to do. Currently, they had a meet and greet with the staff. They are awaiting ratification from the Premier League. News have been coming around exactly what they are trying to do or they seek to do with regards to the transfer. Some of these old players in the team, in Casemiro, Varane, who are on high wages. Kwame has explained a lot about how all of these impact our financial fair play rules. Godfred, do you really agree with the approach? If it's true what we are reading out there, do you really agree with the approach by Ineos on how they want to treat some of these old players, experienced players, but on very high wages and its effect on the team?
Well, it's pretty clear Ineos is about their business in terms of putting the team on sound financial footings. The finances have been a problem for Manchester United, of course, based on what the Glazers have done to their team for almost 2 decades. Now, basically eating all the meat and left us with the bones to struggle with. And if you look at the track record of the people who have worked with Sir Ratcliffe, particularly the French guy, Blanc, he has a track record of coming in, cleaning up the business financially before he actually starts working with what he has to do. If you look at the work he did at Juventus, if you look at the work he did at Paris Saint-Germain, basically built world-class structures after he had done proper cleaning. So it looks like that seems to be what they have in mind. As to who goes first and who comes second, it will get to a point where the financial prudence has to be made alongside football decisions, which is why I'm in a hurry to hear who becomes director of football. Because somebody, you might want a Casemiro out, but I sit back and look at this, our current midfield, and I say somebody like Kobe Mainoo needs to be playing along a Casemiro for at least another year. To eat, look, we can say what we want about Casemiro, but I'll tell you this, we have missed Casemiro. Some of the things that have happened in our season, if Casemiro had been around, irrespective of the criticism leveled against him, there'll be a certain level of leadership, a certain level of responsibility, and some ability on the park if Casemiro had been available. So I look at Rafael Varane and I say, let's not get carried away very quickly. World-class defenders are not easy to find. He's 30 years old, but he's a 30-year-old who's retired from international football, and it's pretty much available. Again, the thing about Varane is what he is good at, very few defenders in the world are good at it. What is Varane good at? Varane is one of the best angle defenders. And people like to play on, some of these things are unnecessary. But Varane doesn't, when Varane plays, watch how very few chances we concede when he's around, as compared to how open we are most of the time when we have other partnerships in play. Okay. Again, his aerial ability is something, his organizational ability is something that we need to look at. Now, these are players, of course, who are earning huge chunks. But the point again is, do you really want a team bereft of leadership? We've seen other teams that have tried this experiment and it has not worked. Chelsea is a team that does not have any kind of leadership. It is a rudderless ship. Somebody might point a finger at Thiago Silva, but I'm saying you need it in departments.
Yes.
You need a defensive leader. You need a midfield leader. You need an attacking leader. Okay. We once they figure that out, then they need to figure out who goes first.
Yeah.
If it is Varane you are letting go, who is coming in? That person perhaps could be younger than Varane, but could be somebody who is younger but provides the same kind of skill sets and leadership that he provides. So you could bring in somebody who's 26 or 25, but has operated at an international level for a pretty long time to take over that role. That saves you money. That also saves you on the age. The same for Casemiro. Okay, so it is the reason why I'm saying I hope that whilst Ineos is doing this, they find a way to introduce to us as quickly as possible the football structure that we have all been yearning for, so that it can go hand in hand with the very necessary financial cleanup that needs to happen. But then, that being said, I also need to ask you guys this. How does that impact Marcus Rashford? He's on over £300,000 a week. That is one of the highest earners in the team. He's English and all that, yeah. But why is he not being considered for the chop?
That question should go to Kwame. Kwame,
you don't pay that kind of money for the kind of outcomes we are getting. You pay that money for KDB numbers.
Yes.
You pay it for Haaland numbers. You don't pay that kind of money for what Rashford gives us.
Kwame, that's your question. Kwame is a big
massive Marcus Rashford.
Marcus Rashford.
For starters, I think it's a good player playing in a bad era. I mean, if we put Marcus Rashford in the era that we had better players, better teams, a lot of his shortcomings wouldn't be overstated as it is. My main issue with having Marcus Rashford as the main man is having Marcus Rashford as the main man. Manchester United should not be relying solely on a player like Marcus Rashford to lead a team. I was very disappointed when we couldn't sign a player like Harry Kane. Ever since Marcus Rashford was introduced as a Manchester United player, he's always had the likes of an Ibrahimovic or a Wayne Rooney or a Cavani. There's always that player who has that experience, has that, we are relying on you for goals, leadership. I don't think he's that sort of player, and he would never be that sort of player, but his numbers speak for themselves. He has scored over 125 goals for the club, has over 70 assists for the club. I mean, a player who has over 200 goal contributions for the club. If you take away Wayne Rooney, Marcus Rashford statistically has provided the most goals of any Manchester United player in the Premier League era. You have to look up the stats. It's actually unreal. And he's an academy lad. I mean, I have a soft spot for anybody who comes out of the academy, was bought for £0, started from scratch, and is making something out of his career for himself or his football club. So I wouldn't go hard on him. My only issue with him is he has been inconsistent. He earned this £300,000 a week contract with his output last season. But unfortunately, we're expecting him to have kicked on from there as a 26-year-old and brought some level of consistency to his game. He's just been up and down again, and that's the problem. So,
but is that not due to the poor state of our football structure then? Because let's take you to a club like Real Madrid. You do not get 30 goals in one season and get that kind of contract. No, you have to do it for 3 or 4 seasons.
You have to
Don Florentino to pay you 300,000 a week.
Godfred, you have to be fair. That's what I'm saying. I started off by saying he's a very good player in a bad era. Because when you do run things back and you look at his stats critically, Marcus Rashford has not always been poor. This is about the third or fourth season that he scored over 20 goals a season. He's one of the few players over the past decade that has actually given us these numbers on multiple occasions. We've had players who just come in, give us a season, one good season, and then that's just about it. We've had Anthony Martial, who is part of, backed him up all these years. The past 3 years, he's been a no-show. Yeah. If you look at our forward line over the past few years, it's hard for you to actually pinpoint anybody who has given us any level of consistency over a period of time. That's where the recruitment thing comes in. That's why I say I'm disappointed we did not sign a player like Harry Kane. If you sign a Harry Kane, Marcus Rashford is not your main man. The burden of goals, contribution in terms of assists, in terms of scoring goals, falls on the man that you would probably hand a 350,000, 400,000 pound contract to in Harry Kane. Instead, we went to buy a man-child in Rasmus Højlund, and we can't even put any level of expectation on him. You get it? So it goes back to the guy who was given a 300,000 pound a week contract. Somebody's going to get a 300,000 pound a week contract at Manchester United at any given point in time. It doesn't even matter if it's Ineos. Someone is going to get it.
Anyway, the Rashford debate continues. Me, Kwame, you know my thoughts on him. His inconsistency really, 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 really worries me. I left that train. I was on that train with you. I left it. I feel Rashford. Your analysis makes a lot of sense that we have to, we should be getting a main man instead of him. He's not that kind of player. The statistics and everything backs what he's done, but he should be kicking on. You can't. 3 seasons ago, he was good. In that season against where the Ralph Ragnick Ole Carrick season went off.
Kwame, I'm at the point where
last season. I'm at the point where he's off. It's just like that.
Kwame, listen. Sometimes we have expectations for people thinking they can be what they are not. This is who he is. As a club, we should know this, understand this, recognize this, and know that at any given point in time, this player shouldn't be the main man at the football club.
Anyway,
you go in there and go and buy the man who would probably win you the league or help you challenge for the title. That is somebody like Harry Kane. You don't pass that up and go and sign a 20-year-old kid from Atlanta. How's that going to help us?
Let's move on. We have 2 more things to touch on before we end this podcast, and our time is actually running out. Godfred, Erik ten Hag, there is a threat that his small veto, the veto that he has in selecting players like Anthony, they are going to take it away from him. It looks like our man is going to lose the power he has over transfers. Some of us think it's justified. I don't know what your thought is on this. Do you think it's a recipe for a sack should he decide not to back down? Because clearly we've seen the output of his decisions when it comes to transfers.
I don't see why he would want to back down. It's a system he should be used to. At Ajax, he was not the one signing players.
Yes.
They've had one of the De Boers, they had Edwin van der Sar. They've had all kinds of people who have made those decisions for him. Okay. So I don't think he should have a problem. Of course, he would have wanted that kind of power at Manchester United, but his track record has not held him out. Yeah. Now, the thing is this, the nature of football structures and how they move forward have changed. Most of the modern clubs these days have a structure where the manager has help. Yeah. There is somebody you can bounce the ideas off, and there's somebody who can tell you, no, it's not just about this. Why not look at this? So there are options that are available for you, and the club can discuss those options. Or there's, okay, what do you need? I need a certain profile of player. Okay, our scouting, we have 140 scouts, Manchester United. Somebody consults them and says, give us 6 names with this profile. That person that comes to sit in front of you looks at which one of them fits you the best at the best available price. Yeah. That is what most of the clubs are doing today. And it's something that we have not done. If we had somebody on top of that structure, I tell you, there is no way we would have paid that 80-something million for Anthony. Like my brother Kwame was saying, that money we bought the man-child from Atlanta for would not have been paid. That boy was at worst a 35 million euro player. So Ten Hag can decide that, well, I want to hold on to the power, but I think he understands what is coming. And it should not be new for him because he's worked under such a structure at Ajax. And frankly, he should be relieved
Absolutely.
that we are taking that responsibility off him,
True.
so that he can focus on transforming the players on the pitch.
Yeah.
The director of football is not a magic wand, no. Yeah. But what we have seen is that most often than not, if you get a good one, you can get at least a decade of success, which is what a football club you can ask for. You don't need 20 years or 30 years. You just need a 5 or 6 year period where you are really, really good to make your fans very happy. Yes. So if we're able to get in whoever it is that we think is available on the market, and there's some good names available on the market, Ten Hag should be very happy to cede that power to those people.
That's absolutely spot on. I mean, we've seen the power of, or the transformation that sporting directors are making across clubs. Pep has been talking about Begistan. I mean, just recently he talked about not knowing a player like Doku. What's the coach of Brighton? He was talking about not knowing João Pedro from nowhere. Deserved.
Yeah.
You see the kind of decisions that they make. I mean, it becomes very, very difficult. I don't know why Ten Hag insisted on. Perhaps he didn't trust the system at United.
Exactly.
I mean, perhaps
he looked at the likes of Meto and see, those people are not big industry players. Nobody knows them. They don't make a difference. So he just decided. I think he just looked at them and said, I can't trust these people. I have to walk in there and probably put my stamp on things. But like Godfred said, I mean, he could not have described the situation any better. He would want that help. Any sane man would want the best in class to work with, to take the burden of, making the mistakes that he's made off him, and then sign better players for him to be able to make his. And I always look at his contract situation. I always go back to his contract situation when people say, "Oh, but then he has this clause in his contract, and he may not want to cede that power." Ten Hag has 1 year left on his contract in 6 months, probably less than 6 months. He has just 1 year left. This club is not going to let his contract run out. It's either they sack him or they offer him a new contract. If they're going to offer him a new contract, it may be based off what he shows from now in the next 3 months, probably to the end of the season. If they're going to offer him a new contract, it will definitely be on different terms. It wouldn't be on the same terms that Meto, signed a contract with him.
Okay, so let's go straight into the game against Tottenham Hotspurs. It's the first game we lost in the season was at the Tottenham Hotspur Sports Stadium. It was actually the first game, our first loss at that stadium. Godfred, let's delve into this game. Ange Postecoglou's high line. Are we picking them off?
Well, if you look at the way we are playing right now, we are designed to pick them off. We saw that mad game they played with Chelsea. And I look at it and I was licking my lips. I was like, God, do this for us. Let these people come and play this way. They let them change. And God being so good, Ange is the kind of guy who doesn't change. He doesn't adjust. He just wants to fight. This is the kind of fight that we like, because at the moment, we've got the speedy Garnacho. Yeah. We've got the speedy Rashford. For now, that is what we have.
Yes.
We've got the speedy Rasmus Højlund as well. And of course, the brilliant passing of Bruno Fernandes in those situations. I like Bruno a lot in those kind of situations because he misplaces a lot of passes, but he also gives a lot of passes that really set teams that set up like Spurs on edge, because he doesn't need a lot of touches to try a pass. If he touches the ball once and he looks up and he sees it, the ball will go. Yeah. And Rashford also likes to play against teams like that. In fact, Rashford has had a lot of success, I think, against Tottenham Hotspur in the past couple of seasons, even at when he hasn't really played well. His pace has been an issue. So I am quite hopeful in this game. I'm looking forward to it on a purely footballing basis. But on the flip side as well, Ange's Spurs are a team that create a lot of chances. They create so many chances, it's scary. They don't convert as many as they should. I think that if they converted as many as they did, they would perform a lot better than they have in the league, although they are clearly above us on the league table. So I look at our back line and ask myself, will we be able to keep Son and Co out
Son has gone for the Asian
Games. Go for the Asian Games.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. That's a positive. I had missed that, but it will not change the fact that Angie's team still create chances.
Yeah.
Son would have been the one who has quality to convert because we have seen Richarlison. He's been very, very profligate in front of goal. He gets a lot of chances. I've not seen somebody get chances like Richarlison in a while, but he does not seem to be able to convert. So I shudder a bit with that, but I am quietly confident that United can get a result. I look at Onana as well, and again, like I'm saying, in a kind of game where you're going to have basically a shooting gallery type of game with Spurs in particular.
Yeah.
Onana has not looked very good in those type of games where there are a lot of shots coming in from all angles. The Galatasaray game was a typical example. We've seen a couple of games as well. He doesn't do well with a high volume of shots. This is one of those games where if Manchester United is to have some success, Ten Hag needs to find a way to reduce the number of quality shots that Spurs will have on goal. Other than that, it's going to be a long, long day. But like I said, quietly confident of a United victory. Go Man United.
Kwame, you've been looking forward to this game. I mean,
it's Spurs. See, if we have any big game against any of the traditional top six, I'm always confident against Spurs. Because it's Spurs. I mean, they rarely beat us. And this time around, we really need to beat them. If we want to keep any chance of a top 4 place up, we have to. It's a 6-pointer. It's almost like the Villa game.
You still have
against those teams. I said if.
Why are you even having a if at this point, Kwame?
Because it's possible. Why not?
Last year I wrote the season of say he cast. You said he cast.
No, see. 2024. We are starting afresh. I said at the start of the podcast.
But Spurs have an 8-point advantage over us.
That is why we cannot afford not to beat them. We beat them as 5 points, and then 5 points is nothing actually. I mean, so we have to win. But I'm looking at this from a personal point of view. Like you rightly pointed, Son won't be available. I'm hearing that maybe Lisandro Martinez would want to, start that game.
He should take time.
That would be a huge plus for us if he's able to come back. Because as well as Johnny Evans has done, we shouldn't be, we shouldn't get too excited about the fact that he can continue to perform like this. So, it's Spurs. I'm confident we'll win. I'm going to say it. I'm confident that we'll win.
That's been another exciting episode of United and Everything Football. I've really enjoyed myself. Godfred, we need you more here. We need you more. Please promise everyone watching that you will be here more often. I am putting you on the spot.
I promise I'll be here often. So far as we are bleeding red and we are bleeding painfully at the moment, I'm available.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Godfred Akotobu. Thank you very much, Kwame Chukwuesiako. It's been a very, very good episode here on United and Everything Football. This is what we have for you. Please share, like, subscribe, put on your notification bells every single time. We will be coming your way with a lot of this on United and Everything Football. Have a great time, and we hope to win against Tottenham Hotspur. Bye-bye.